Hello YouTube, I'm here with some more taper testing. This is the final recurve bow that I needed to test. It was originally tapered to 19 millimeters, however I reheated and retapered both limbs, so now it should be pretty close to perfect, as good as I can do it anyway. And both limbs measure 18 millimeters now, so this is a little bit tighter than I wanted it to be. There's only 1 millimeter separating this from the 17 millimeter, but let's see what we have. I mean, what the difference is. Plus, then when we're done, we'll take a look at all the bows and see how the set that they've taken has stayed or gone. So here we are, stringing it. Okay, that looks extremely even. Great. That is just nigh perfect. Awesome. I must say, these have been some very well flattened bows. I really like the device that I'm using to flatten them. Brace height appears to be 7 inches unless I'm mistaken. 7 inches, there we go. I really ought to just write some numbers on the side here for me to reference. What I do is I'm going to draw it first to 8 inches and then every 2 inches all the way to 28. So here we have 0 at 8 inches, 3.3 pounds. 10 inches, 8.5 pounds. 12 inches, 12.75 pounds. Now to 14 inches, 15.95 pounds. 16, 18.55, 18 inches, 21.05 pounds, 20 inches, 23.3 pounds, 22 inches, 25.7, 24 inches, 28.7, 26 inches, 32.4. Full draw, 28 inches, belly to draw point, which again would be 29.75 inches AMO. £36. Once more to 20. 21.55. Once more to 24. 27.7. Finally, all the way back to 28 inches or 29.75 AMO. 36.4. Well, there we go. Now we have the data from all of these bows. We can compare them to each other. We can take a look at them, analyze them, and hopefully have a better idea of exactly how we need to taper a bow to get what kind of results. This will be very interesting, and hopefully this will lead to more consistent bow production. So let's say if you wanted a 10-pound bow, 15-pound bow, 20-pound bow, you should be able to dial it in almost. Okay, the set on this bow is about an inch, just a touch over an inch, and going down. On the note of set, let's take a look at the other bows, starting, of course, with the super flattened 17 millimeter bow. There's been 0 permanent set. There's no set whatsoever as far as I can tell. It looks as fresh as the day I made it. The second bow would be the 21 millimeter bow. Very little set as well. There looks to be very little set, but maybe at most a quarter of an inch. At most a quarter of an inch of set. Very, very minimal, very doable. The last bow was the 24 millimeter tapered bow. This bow has taken the most set. It's visibly taken a bit of set, but again, it's only about a quarter inch at most. So, I mean, there it is. All of these bows are, for all intents and purposes, identical. Right now, one of them, the one I just shot, still has a little bit of set that it's working out. It's relaxing, and so it doesn't line up with the others. I've got them all here. All the tips line up. They're as close as I can make them. The overall lengths are as close as I can make them. But, you know, that's what it is. So I will let you know about the set for that bow, but I expect there to be absolutely no set in the handle. One comment. All of these bows, if you actually made them, I would recommend flattening the handle at least slightly side to side. If you do that, it'll make the handle a little bit more rigid, more prone to flopping, but more rigid. I would say if you're going to do something like this, the very aggressively tapered 24 millimeter bow, leaving it round actually lets the handle flex a little bit more. That might be a lifesaver, so to speak. That might help. But on the other hand, if you could make the handle a little bit more rigid somehow, you could probably force the limbs to work a little bit more. You could reasonably get over 50 pounds, well over 50 pounds out of a bow like this. There's no reason why it has to stop at about 47 pounds. It's just a matter of how strong the round section here in the handle is. And when the bow is so heavy, if you tended to taper it too much, it would tend to want to flop over one side or the other. You know, you can solve those in multiple ways. You can either stuff it full of other pipes or fiberglass. You can try the foam insulation. Some people have had really good success with that. Or you can just make it slightly lighter and squish it normally. All of these bows seem to perform very similarly. The weather is crappy, and it's scheduled to stay crappy for the next few days. I'm going to take advantage of the nice cloud cover, the nice, beautiful, diffuse light it creates, to pull out my chronograph, and I'm going to do some testing over the next few days on these bows specifically. Before I do that, I'll probably go and I'll just double check to see if the draw weight has changed at all, or just to validate. Oh, by the way, the outdoor air temperature is about 60 degrees right now. That gives you an idea of what the bows are all like. And this has been the same temperature for the last 12 to 24 hours, so no problem. All of them should be at the same temperature. I should have noted that right up front, however, since that will affect the rigidity of all the bows. I've got nothing else to add at this point. I'm going to be crunching numbers, making up charts, tables, comparisons. Hopefully we'll be able to extrapolate I should be able to create a data table which would allow you to just pick almost any taper given these conditions and arrive at a set draw weight. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this, subscribe. I try and make stuff interesting and give you guys a slightly different perspective. Thanks again, YouTube.